Okay, today's guest on the Hoopers Insight podcast is pro hooper Kevin Murphy. A quick breakdown of his basketball resume: a 4-year starter at Tennessee Tech, 2019 career points at Tennessee Tech, the 47th overall pick in the 2012 NBA draft by the Utah Jazz, All-NBA D-League first team in 2014. He has won championships in the Croatian League in 2018, as well as the Bahrain Premier League in 2019. He was the FIBA Asian Champions Cup scoring leader with 27.6 points per game and 10.4 rebounds per game in 2019. Kevin has played in France, Dubai, Bahrain, Philippines, China, Japan, Croatia, and of course the U.S. And be sure to follow him on IG at bangup_55. And thanks again for coming on the show today, Kevin.
Oh, man, thank you for having me, man. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So you grew up in Fairburn, Georgia, or that's where you went to high school?
Yeah, I went to high school in Fairburn, Georgia, which is south of Atlanta, going down 85 south of Atlanta. That's where my high school was, in Fairburn. I grew up in right not too far from in College Park, Georgia, right down the street from there. That's where I grew up most of that. But yeah, like I said, I went to high school there. I went to middle school, elementary school in College Park, but I chose for the high school in Fairburn.
Now, growing up in that area, what was the street ball culture like, and like what were you doing as a youngin', hooping a lot? And
man, you know, back then, nowadays, there's no more street ball. Like it's no more. Like you might ride by a park and see no kids playing basketball. But back in the day, like that's all we did. That's all we had was street ball, outside courts. That's all I did. Going to some of my friends' house, playing on their basketball goal in the street. You know, all type of things like that. But now, you know, it's more set on like workouts, training. You know, nowadays, like my son is 7 years old, and like he's wanting to train. Like, you know, he want to train, go to an actual trainer, go through drills and stuff like that. But I didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? Growing up, we learned everything on the fly. Everything from playing like outside, playing basketball outside, street ball.
yeah, definitely. You know, today's era, it's a lot of skills and drills, it seems like, compared to, you know, just a short 10, 15 years ago. Is a lot more just go out and hoop.
Right, exactly.
What parks were you hooping in as a kid?
Man, we had Creel Park, which was like a 15, 20-minute bike ride for my mother's house, my mom's house where I grew up. We had Welcome Park. We had Burdette Gym. We had a lot of local neighborhoods we used to go to that had a full basketball court outside. We used to go out there. So it was a couple of gyms. I mean, nothing like when you think about New York street ball, you think about Rucker Park and stuff like that. Now, we didn't have nothing like that, but we had a lot of basketball being played down here.
Mm-hmm. And so as you were growing up and stuff, when did you start taking basketball more seriously?
Man, you know, it's crazy. Like I've been playing basketball since I was like 7, 8 years old. I've been playing. My dad put me on the rec ball team and stuff like that. So I was just naturally just good, you know what I'm saying, per se. I was just naturally like, I can play basketball. But I started taking it very seriously when I turned about 15, 16. Like going into my junior year of high school, I started taking like, yeah, I can really make a living off this. Because one of the guys they used to teach at my school played overseas basketball. His name was Robert Swain. He actually trained. He still trains me to this day. Swain, that's my guy. But he used to work out after school. You know what I'm saying? Like he used to teach during the day and like work out after school to stay in shape for going back overseas when his kid come back. So he used to train me in that. He told me, he was like, look, man, like, you have a real chance of going to the NBA. I'm 16, 15 years old. And since that day forward, I put all my eggs in that basket, in that NBA basket. You know what I'm saying? All I needed was one person to tell me, like, you got a chance. And he was that guy who actually told me. And like, the second person was my wife in high school. Like, you know, I met her in high school. She told me the same thing. So once I heard those two people believe in me, that's all I needed. That's all I needed, man. I just started taking it serious from that day on.
So you had mentioned, was he a pro hooper? You were saying he was overseas.
Yes, he was playing pro. You probably heard of him. His name is Robert Swain. He went to UConn out of high school. He played with Karan Butler. He was on that team with Karan Butler and them in UConn, but then he transferred to a mid-major. Then he went overseas for a couple of years. You know what I'm saying? Like during the off season, he'll come work at our high school. So that's how I met him initially.
Okay. So, yeah, you kind of had him helping you probably, take your game to another level and train you almost professionally and work out with you professionally, it sounds like.
Right. So he was he was playing pro ball, and I was in high school. So he was basically teaching me everything a pro baller does in high school. Like I was learning all that in high school at 15, 16 years old.
And what was some of the game he put you on mentally that was different?
Man, it was just like the work ethic. So like I said before, like I was always, like I was good. Like I can go to the local parks and get picked up, play 5-on-5. I was good. But in order to be like known or be that guy, I had to put that work ethic in. So we was getting up in the mornings, running sprints, running stadiums, doing back crawls, like all type of stuff we was doing that I was doing at 15 years old that prepared me like to now. You know what I'm saying? To my career now. So I was already a hard worker back then from him. He showed me how to be a hard worker, basically.
Yeah, that's awesome. And, it really, really makes a big difference for hoopers in high school that have the potential to play, D2, D1, or pro if they have that guy who's a good mentor and he's been there and done that at the professional level. It makes a big difference. So when you were coming into high school, where was your skill level at in development and your role on the team as a freshman in high school?
My freshman year, I came in playing varsity. My freshman year, because we wasn't that good of a team, but we had won like made it to the playoffs a couple of years before I got there, so they was pretty good. But it was like their down rebuild year. So I came in with like 5 other freshmen who all played varsity. Like I said, we was rebuilding. So my role basically was I was a catch and shoot corner guy. I stayed in the corner. Every time I caught the ball, my coach told me to shoot the ball in the corner. That's all. That was my only job. And then as the years go by, I get a growth spurt. I start, developing my ball handling every year. I start developing my one-on-one game. And so things start to change, like I said, towards that sophomore year when I met Swain into my junior year. Like I had a huge junior year where I started playing. Then I started playing with the Georgia Stars, one of the big AAU programs down here. I started playing with them, started getting a lot of looks. Then my senior year, I kind of like exploded per se. I kind of took off. I wasn't known like nationally, but I was ranked like in the state, maybe like 25 or something like that, top 25 in the state. But nationally, I wasn't ranked like that. But I still had a great year, a good year, my senior year to get some D1 looks.
Yeah, definitely. And you supposedly averaged 26 points per game, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists per game senior year. So you were definitely putting that work in.
Yeah, definitely. And then we had a school, like my school was like, nowadays in high school, like parents place their child in a district where this school is the top basketball school. Like they're putting their players or their kids in these districts where these schools are great. I just went to a school that we was already living in a district where, I grew up in. So all the players from my high school, none of them played after high school. You know what I mean? So that's the kind of team I came from. So basically I had to like carry a lot. And that kind of like helped me throughout my career too. You know what I'm saying? Like going to college, going to a small mid-major, having to like be the guy, you know what I mean? To some pro, you know what I mean? Like then going to a pro, same thing.
And you had mentioned playing for the Georgia Stars. Did you have any notable teammates on that team?
That year, mind you, that year we probably went 65-3. Like we was like unstoppable. It was me, We had Al-Farouq Aminu, who went to Wake Forest, who's still in the league now. We had Travis Leslie, who went to UGA, played in the league a couple of years. We had Tony Woods, big guy, went to Wake Forest, big 6'10" guy. We had Ralph Sampson Jr., who went to Minnesota out of high school. We had Tanner Smith, who went to Clemson out of high school. We had Wesley Witherspoon, who went to Memphis. And then we had a couple other guys too. Ray Willis, he went to Oklahoma out of high school. So on my AAU team, I really didn't play that much. Like, I was the guy who was there, like when we blowing teams out by 20, I get in, have a quick 15 points in the fourth quarter, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. That's how I got most of my looks from college.
And so obviously with a big names like you had on your team and stuff, you got a lot of exposure to D1 programs and college coaches. Obviously Tennessee Tech was the college you ended up going to. Who were some of the other schools that were interested in you and offered you?
Man, to be honest, that was my only offer.
Really?
Tennessee Tech was my only college offer. Like, of course, from playing with the Georgia Stars, I had teams sending me letters like, you know what I'm saying, like the letters they send every other kid. I was getting those letters, but the only offer I had was from Tennessee Tech. And that's the only visit I went on. And I hated my visit. I didn't like it. I hated it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hated the visit. I hated the atmosphere, the atmosphere out there. I just hated it, but it was the only school that offered me, so I had to take it. I mean, it worked out good in the end, but I just had to take it.
Damn, that's crazy, because obviously what you ended up doing in college and beyond college, a lot of college coaches slept on you.
Right, a lot of them. I mean, to this day, I still get run into some coaches that was in college and stuff that they always tell me, man, we looking for a Kevin Murphy, a diamond in the rough type guy right now. You know what I'm saying? Because like I'm still in that realm a little bit. I have my own AAU program right now that we started up last summer. So a lot of coaches and stuff been talking to some of my players and stuff. So I mean, they know who I am and stuff like that. They know my story a little bit. So it's kind of cool.
Nice. And you guys have an Instagram for that AAU team or anything like that? We can give them a shout out.
Yeah, it's Bang Up Basketball. Bang Up Basketball. That's what it is.
All right, sounds good. Shout out Bang Up AAU. Go follow.
Yeah. Shout out there. Stands for Believe and Never Give Up, man. That's what it stands for.
All right. Yeah, I was kind of wondering. So anyways, your senior year comes and goes. Obviously, you put in that work, averaging 26 points per game, rebounds, and so you end up going to Tennessee Tech and averaged 9.6 points per game as a freshman, which that's pretty damn good for a freshman.
Yeah, right.
And so what was it like you're transferring from high school to college, and how it was at Tennessee Tech and your role there?
Man, it was different. It was different for me because like I went in, like I wasn't starting. I wasn't the guy. I wasn't that guy, you know what I'm saying? Coming from my high school team, like I was always the guy. You know what I mean? Like I was the go-to guy, this and that. And then going into college, it was tough, but it wasn't that big of a difference for me. Like, because I played on that AAU team, like I told you before, and I didn't play that much. So that kind of set me up for that. But then once we started going into the season, and like every time I got in, I was productive and this and that. I started starting like in January, mid-January. I started the rest of the season having 20-plus point games and stuff like that. So became freshman of the month a couple of times in the conference and stuff like that. So it kind of like my whole high school AAU kind of prepared me for that. You know what I mean? Just sit on the bench for a long time. Not a long time, but just sit on the bench my beginning of my freshman year and to start playing. I was always ready for it.
Yeah, definitely prepared you for that type of situation. You still with me?
Yeah. I'm still. Hold on, I had a call, but I'm still right here.
So, I saw your stats you had your freshman year, and it seems like you definitely poured it on and got more comfortable as the season went on because you said you started starting towards the end of your freshman year.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So anyways, the next year you end up going and averaging 15.3 and 3.9 rebounds and 2 assists per game, and definitely, coming up on other schools' radars, and I'm sure they were keying in on you on the scouting reports at that point. What was that like, the jump between your freshman and sophomore year?
Man, what's so crazy? Like my whole mindset going into my sophomore year was, I'm gonna have a good year, and I'm gonna just go overseas after my sophomore year. That was my mindset going in, because I didn't know like school wasn't for me per se. Like it wasn't what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to hoop. I knew I wanted to play basketball and play professionally, and so I thought, me going in my sophomore year and then going there and killing, I was just gonna go overseas, just start making money, just start however that worked. I was gonna start making money doing that. That summer going into my sophomore year, I was at home and I was thinking about transferring. And I was talking to a guy named C. Watts. He was the assistant coach at Georgia Tech during that time. He was assistant coach at Georgia Tech, yeah. And like my high school coach was good friends with him, so he had me talk to him because my dream school was Georgia Tech. So I talked to him. He basically told me, he was like, I know you want to transfer this and that, but look, if you come to Georgia Tech, you're going to sit on the bench just because your name is not that big. You're not that 5-star recruit. You're going to sit on this bench until maybe your senior year and then try to have a breakout year. He said, man, if I stay 4 years at Tennessee Tech, I got a good chance of going to the NBA. So I took that and was like, man, you know what? Let me stay, get better every year. Start doing what I need to do. Get in the gym, getting in the weight room, all types of stuff I need to do to get to that draft, to get to the NBA. And so that was another guy who, he probably don't even remember that conversation, but he was a guy who told me that, and it kind of just stuck with me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm one of them guys that if I hear something one time from somebody, something positive, I'm keeping that with me. I want to take that with me and try to accomplish that.
Yeah, definitely, especially if that opinion's coming from someone who's respected,
right.
The community or industry that you're referring to. So, yeah, you went ahead and you had a great junior season, and you made the first team All-OVC team. And then you followed up your senior season red hot with a 50-piece game on SIU Edwardsville, which was points a D1 player had scored in that season. How was that?
Man, that was crazy. Like my junior year, I had a great junior year. And going to my senior year, I was playing very well. So I started to hear a little buzz, like from scouts and stuff. Like my coach started saying scouts at the game. And we had every year I was there in the OVC, we had somebody get drafted. My freshman year, it was Lester Hudson. He got drafted my freshman year. My sophomore year in the conference, it was, I want to say, Fareed. What was it, Fareed? I think it was Fareed. Kenneth Fareed. And then it was me, and then it was Isaiah Cannon. So every year, so every game we'll have scouts, like a couple scouts coming in, sneaking in. And so I started getting a little buzz from like, okay, maybe this kid can play, you know what I'm saying? But he's still in the mid-major. We don't know for sure, you know what I'm saying? Start getting talks like that. And then when I hit that 50-point game, that was really like my pushover. That was really like, okay, this kid can actually play. This kid got a chance. So that's what that game helped me out a lot, man. It helped me out tremendously. Tremendously, it helped me out.
Yeah, after that game, did you definitely start notice more of a buzz and scouts, reaching out to your coach and whatnot in the crowd?
Definitely. I started noticing everything more, but started those agents start hitting me up. I started hitting my coaches up. Like it was a whole whirlwind of stuff I wasn't even familiar with. But it was cool though. Like the whole process, it was actually cool, man.
Yeah, definitely. So you ended up finishing that season averaging 20.6 points per game, 5.2 rebounds, and 2.3 assists per game, and obviously on a lot of NBA teams' radars heading into that offseason. And you also were invited to the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament, which, for those that don't know, is it's an honor to be invited to that event. It's basically a tournament for guys to go ahead and get their name and get more exposure out there just before the draft and the summer league, etc. How was that experience at that tournament?
Man, that tournament was another great stepping stone for me, because the first day there, mind you, every senior there, like from all these top schools, from all the high majors or whatnot. So it was another stepping stone for me to be like, okay, I can go out there and show them that I'm still as good as these guys at these high major schools. Man, the first day when we played our games, I had like 24 points on like 10 shots. I went like 7 from 10 from the field, had like 6 rebounds and like 3 assists. Man, the whole tournament, everybody at the tournament basically told me, "Hey man, you good? Like go home." like you have no reason to even keep playing. You know what I'm saying? But at that time, I didn't know no better. Like I didn't know nothing about that. I'm just thinking I need to be here, work hard, show them that I'm supposed to be here. So like we ended up playing them whole 3 days and winning the whole Portsmouth, the team I was on. It was me, Kyle O'Quinn, Irv Smith, point guard from Florida, and I forget the other guy's name, but we all ended up winning that whole tournament. I won like first team on the tournament and all type of stuff. So that helped me out going into the draft process. And the whole draft process was so crazy, man. Like I was literally on a plane every week, every couple of days. Like I might have worked out for like 17, 16 different teams. But like I said, I had to. I had to. And then but it was so crazy because like none of the top guys that year, like the Bradley Beals, the Jeremy Lambs, and all the top shooting guards would not work out with me. None of them would work out with me. So
really,
and I get it. If you are already surefire, you know what I'm saying, lottery pick or first round, why would you work out with a guy who's supposed to be late first, second round pick? Why would you even work out with him and have a chance of getting exposed by him? You get what I'm saying? So that's how they was looking at it. They was looking at it like, man, nah, this cat, you know what I'm saying, we don't want to work out with him. So all their agents kept them away from me. And I hated that. I hated it, man. I hated it. But I do understand it. I do understand it, though, man.
Yeah, you can definitely see it from their perspective. And, I mean, you're a certified bucket getter. So, I mean, you could get busy on anyone on any given night if it comes down to it, for sure.
Right, exactly.
So you had obviously you were drafted by the Utah Jazz. Who were some other teams that were showing some serious interest in you at that time?
The only other team that I believe showed serious interest was the Chicago Bulls, and they had the 29th pick that year. They had the 29th pick, and I worked out for them, and I had a great workout, killed that workout. But it was like on the cusp. Like I think in that workout it was me, Chris Middleton, a couple other guys, but I really wanted that pick. Because, it's like it was first round. I really wanted that pick. But that was one of the only other teams where I got, that they really wanted to give me a chance. But I forgot they ended up taking Marcus Teague at the 29th pick. So they ended up taking the point guard, which is cool, you know.
And I mean, that draft that you were drafted in 2012, I mean, that draft was ridiculously deep and talented. I mean, really, it's probably one of the best draft classes in a long time. And I mean, there's a lot of guys that got picked up in the second round that are obviously still playing and have a pretty prominent role to this day. So, that was a loaded draft class. So take me to draft night. Were you there or were you at home? What went on?
No, I stayed at home. I stayed at home in Atlanta with my fam, and we watched the whole draft. Like I told I told all my people, like all my like cousins and uncles and stuff, I basically told them like, nah, I don't want nobody over right now. You know, it's like I didn't know for sure where I was going or when I would get drafted or if I would get drafted, so I didn't want them people there. But of course, everybody showed up at my parents' house. But actually me and my wife actually went back in the back room and watched the whole draft, like by ourselves, with my family in the other room. But once my agent called me at the time and said the Utah Jazz was going to pick me, I had went back in there and told everybody, and we heard my name. You know, so it was a great moment. So,
yeah, how did that feel? Just knowing, like, you know, almost your whole life was leading up to that moment, and in a lot of ways, you know, dreams coming true.
Man, like that felt so good to me, man. Just knowing, like, me being a guy who wasn't the top ranked guy at the high school, who didn't go to a big school, who had all these odds against him, was able to get drafted into the NBA. So that's a great feeling on its own. And then I got drafted by the Utah Jazz, who I never talked to. I didn't work out for them. I didn't talk to them. All of a sudden they drafted. So that was a great experience.
Yeah, for sure. So after you get drafted by them and stuff, what happened directly following that? You obviously played in the summer league for them, and how was that experience?
I played summer league. You know, like as a rookie, you know what I'm saying? Well, back then I didn't really know. So I'm going in trying to basically fit in. I'm going in trying to, you know what I'm saying, don't step on nobody's toes, try and do everything the right way, you know what I'm saying? So of course that transferred over to my game. So my game, I'm kind of like deferring from shots that I usually take, not really, you know what I'm saying, going into my bag and stuff like that. So I had an okay summer league. I probably averaged like 9 or something like 8 or 9, something like that. I had an okay summer league, but it wasn't a summer league where I felt like I really killed. Like I really did my thing. So after that, going into like training camp and stuff, I had that mindset of, man, I got to go in here and show them why they drafted, which was a great experience too, going in there doing that.
Yeah, for sure. And so after that had occurred, you ended up playing a couple games for them, right? And you also played in the D League as well that season?
Yeah, so how it works is, you know, second round picks are not guaranteed. You know, like they on non-guaranteed. Well, my contract was non-guaranteed, and it has trigger dates. So like the date, like I think it was like January something. If I made it to this date in January, my contract will become fully guaranteed for the rest of the year. So with that kind of pressure on you already on, like, your whole mind is going crazy because you don't know if they can cut you, don't stay, you know, so like it was just crazy. So once I played a couple of games in the first half of the season, and then they sent me to the D League. And I was in the D League for like a month and a half. You know what I'm saying? I was in there a month and a half. Like I played, like I said, I played okay. I played okay because they wanted me to go down there and basically show them I can do other things besides score, which I didn't get. I didn't understand it at all. Like you draft me as a scorer, so why don't you want to see me do what you drafted me to do? So my whole time down there, I'm basically trying to change my game to make them happy, to show them that I can play D, that I can, you know what I'm saying, pass the ball, that I can do all the other things besides doing what I do comfortably. Mm-hmm. So like I'm playing, and then I'm like, man, this ain't really me. So I started basically like going back to playing how I play. So like one game I had like 24 or something like that. And I remember the GM of the Utah Jazz, they called me and was like, basically like, man, we don't want to see that from you. You know, so we don't want to like man, it's so crazy. Like the NBA, like man, it's so crazy. Like everybody want to get there, but they don't know what it's really like when you get in there. Especially if you're not a lottery pick, if you're not like the top guys. Like it's crazy, man. So the GM basically told me like, man, we don't want to see that from you. We want to see you do other things. So I'm like, in my mind, so now I go back to playing how I was before, and like my whole mental just messed up now. Like I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? So that whole process was tough for me. And then I ended up getting called back up, like right before Christmas. And then I stuck on the JS the whole way past my due date in January, and I was with them the rest of the season. Utah Jazz the rest of the season, so that was kind of fun. But it was that whole beginning of the season until January. Man, I was mentally up and down, but you don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, a lot of people don't really realize the level of politics and everything else that comes with the NBA. I mean, you have systems, you have coaches, you have other teammates. There's just so many levels of politics that really play into things. It's not as simple as, are you the best player or are you know what I mean? It's just so many things that play into it. It's crazy.
I mean, it's so crazy. If you look at, let me tell you, if you look at my highlights from when I first became pro, you will see how my game changes every year. Because every year it was always something that a GM would tell me to make me put into my game. Instead of me playing my game how I play, I would always try to mimic what they tell me. So my first year pro after the Utah Jazz, everybody was saying, okay, you can shoot, but we want to see if you can drive to the cup. If you can go get layups. So that whole next year, my second year pro, all you will see is me driving to the goal, getting contact, driving to the goal. Now all of a sudden they're saying, can he pass the ball? So that next year I averaged 6 assists in the D League. Now after I'm doing everything they telling me they want to see, and I'm doing it, now it's like, okay, can you shoot the ball again? And I'm like, man, come on, man. So that next year, I shoot the ball 44% from three. But it's still, but it was never to that point where they were satisfied. So I got to the point a couple of years ago where I was just like, man, I'm just gonna play how I play. I'm just gonna do me. I'm just gonna do me, man. And if they want me, they'll come get it. But I'm not gonna keep changing my game every year for y'all, which I can do obviously because I'm talented. But that's they don't even know what they want. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's just crazy.
And you did have another 50-piece in 2014, right, in the D League?
Yeah. I scored 50 in the D League. I want to say that the following year or the year, my second year pro. I want to say.
Yeah, I think it was for the Idaho Stampede.
Yeah, it was for Idaho. Yep.
Yeah, I think you actually still hold the record for that franchise. I think they've moved into they're a new franchise or they're located somewhere else, but I think you still hold that to this day.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool. That's cool to know. That's hard.
So, you went and did a little stint in Strasbourg, IG of France, and then you obviously came back and played for the Idaho Stampede in early 2014. How was that in France and, your experience there and the differences between playing European basketball versus NBA?
France, the country itself is nice. You know what I'm saying? It was love staying out there. Like the basketball, it's very different. It's basically like it's basically like a college game with better players. You get what I'm saying? Like it's more of a system. It's more of a you have to play into a system. As far as like NBA and the G League, it's more isolation basketball, which I can, you know what I'm saying, I'm better at that. But the system over in Europe, it's like you can't shoot the ball unless you're under 5 seconds in the shot clock. You got to swing the ball. Everybody has to touch the ball. It's very systematic. You know what I mean? But don't get me wrong. Outside the NBA, the Euroleague is the best league outside the NBA. And that year in Strasbourg, I played Euroleague, and the competition over there is basically like NBA. But over there, they're not athletic like NBA players, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I've also heard from other players that playing in Europe, I don't know about the EuroLeague, but it's more physical. They're less foul.
Definitely more physical. Definitely a more physical game than NBA. When I went to Strasbourg and played in the EuroLeague that year, and I came back and went to the D League that year, it was very easy. like hands down, very easy. Like to me, the NBA and the D League is the easiest league I ever played in. By far, hands down, the easiest league I ever played in. Now, with me saying that, I'm not saying that the players are not the best players in the world. I'm not saying it at all. But for me, the spacing in the NBA game is totally different from overseas. Overseas, if you drive by the guy who's defending you, that next help guy is right there waiting on you. In the NBA, you get by that one defender, you have so much space to go by. So to me, that was easier for me in that aspect.
Yeah, definitely. And so you then came back and you kind of had a stint with the Utah Jazz again and the Idaho Stampede. And then midway through that season or the following season, you left and went to the Lions of the CBA, the Chinese Basketball Association. How was that experience? And, obviously we know they pay real good over there for imports. And just what's the differences between playing in China and Europe?
The difference between China and Europe, and China, it's only 2 imports. It's only 2 American players, and that means, and then they have restrictions where like you guys can only play 2 quarters together. So say like the first quarter only 1 American can play, the second and third both can play, then the fourth quarter only 1 can play. So knowing that, and then you basically have to do everything in China. You have to score, you have to rebound, you have to assist, everything. And if you're not scoring, they don't want you. They don't like you. Like you literally have to score 30 or more for them to like you. Unless your team is the top team in the division. You have to score 30 for them to like you, basically. And in Europe, you're good with scoring 6. If you average 8 in the Euroleague, you're killing. You know what I'm saying? Like so, and then in China, you need to average 35 to be. You know what I'm saying? To be killing, man.
Yeah, because you see those EuroLeague games, and I mean, they're ending games where it's only 60, 80 points, total. Mm-hmm. And then you see some of the CBA scores, and some of those games are going 144 points, 150 points, Yeah. It's a real fast pace of play. A lot of, like, full court outlet passes, fast
right.
Right. Definitely, they like a high-paced offensive brand of basketball over there in China.
Definitely.
So after that, you ended up playing in the Japan Basketball League for the Hitachi Sun Rockers. Mm-hmm. And how did that go?
That was actually Japan. Japan is a great country for basketball. They're up and coming now. Like the year I was there, it was like 2-3 different leagues. Now they have combined all of those leagues over there to one big league, and it's pretty good over there. Like the competition is good. You can still only have two imports, I believe, but the competition is better. But I think they can play the whole game together, something like that. But that year I probably averaged like 17 or something like that. But that was my first year. See, that year I'm coming out of China, where in China the mindset is score. All they want you to do is score. So then going to Japan, it's more of they want you to score, but it's more of a team-oriented country. So when I went over there, I had to change, had to dial back a little bit and change my game a little bit more with them because I had like another import who was pretty good, who was a big man, who was pretty good. So that was the only difference with that.
Mm-hmm. So then you played in the Croatian League, and you guys won a championship. How was that experience?
That year, that was my last year playing in Europe. That was my last year playing in Europe because I have played, like I said, I played in China, the Philippines, and stuff like that. And I was just coming. Once I went to Croatia, I was just coming from China in the NBL, their summer league over there. I'm coming off from them, averaging 47 points. Coming from them. going right to Croatia, where it's more. We was in the Euro Cup, the ABA League, and the Croatian League at one time. So Euro Cup is like right under Euroleague. So I'm coming from this situation in China, going back to this systematic way of playing in Europe, which is cool. Like, I was good in that system. I was great in that system. I might have averaged like 9 points in Euro Cup, shot 50 from the three, 50 from the field. You know what I'm saying? I'm playing well. But the coaches over there, like, it's like the European coaches, is either their way or the highway. So, like, if they say do a right-hand layup and you shoot a left-hand layup and make it still, they don't like it. And that's how it was, like with me and that coach. Like he basically told me, the coach over there basically told me that the way I play and the way he coached, we can't mesh. Even though we was winning, even though we was on the top teams in every league we played in over there, I was one of the best players in Euro Cup over there. He was just like, bro, like you basically telling me you're doing your own thing. Even though I'm getting the same result that he want, me not doing it the exactly way that he wanted me to do it, he didn't like it. So he told me, I gotta go, basically. He basically said, man, like, the way you playing and the way I coach, we're not gonna get along.
So even with you guys winning that chip, it still
it wasn't good enough, man. Like, it wasn't. And so with me, mentally, that was my last time going to Europe. Because every situation for me in Europe has kind of been like that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm playing good, I'm playing well, but it's just not how they want me to play. You know what I'm saying? So ever since then, I just stayed Middle East, stayed China, and Philippines in Asia. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where I'm at with it now. Either I'm gonna try to make it back to the NBA, or I'm gonna play over here. I'm not trying to deal with Europe right now.
Yeah, and I mean, it totally makes sense considering your game. You know, you're a score first player, and I mean,
right.
I mean, you could score better than a lot of guys that are in the NBA. You know,
right.
So as far as that goes, you know, your game is definitely more tailored for those leagues where it's more offensively paced and whatever. So you've been playing in Bahrain as well as the FIBA Asia Champions Cup. Like, how is that living in Bahrain over there in the Middle East and just, you know, getting exposed to that culture? What was that like?
Man, I'm not gonna lie. The Middle East is one of the best places living wise I ever been. Like over there, like the culture, like everybody's nice. It's great. The living situation, like the weather is great. The weather is always 75 degrees or better, no matter what time of year it is. It's clean. It's nice looking. The beach is around there, so everything was like I loved it over there. And then I played in Dubai for a tournament. It's the same thing. Like it's lovely.
Mm-hmm. And I've heard about Dubai and Bahrain. Basically, a lot of the clubs over there are owned by oil sheiks and the oil families. Is that true?
Yeah. A lot of. There's a lot of money over there. But you like over there, the way their culture set up is like they would rather pay their own kind than to pay an American. So you really either got to be really, really good and they really, really like you for them to pay you, or they're gonna try to pay you like $7,000 a month, $8,000 a month. You know what I mean? Something like that. So with me, I was paid pretty good over there because it's like I was a good player. You know what I mean? So they kind of like took care of me. So it was cool. It's good.
Yeah, definitely. So now your most recent season and over in the FIBA Asia Champions Cup, and I don't know, is that also a part of the PBA or how's that work?
No, the PBA is the Philippines. That's the Philippines. I played for San Miguel in the Philippines. 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. But the FIBA Asia Cup is basically all the top teams in Asia. So whoever won their division in like Iran, China, Philippines, Bahrain, whoever won in their country goes to that tournament. So all the best teams in Asia goes to play in that tournament. And the year I was in Bahrain, we won the whole thing. So we got a chance. We qualified for that. And I ended up going back with Bahrain to that tournament and did very well in that tournament. And got a lot of great looks from like different other Asian teams, Asian clubs.
Yeah, and I saw that you guys were one of the first Bahrainian teams to actually be invited to that cup for quite some time.
Yeah, because the Bahrain basketball, it's not the best, not like the top tier like basketball. But like once playoffs hit, like they start bringing in, like last year we played Arenzi Onuaku and Sean Williams that played in the league for like 10 years. The other team over there had signed down. Another team, the top 4 team, had signed DJ Stevens and Wayne Chisholm. So like around playoff time is when they really start bringing in top talent. You know, like top talent guys.
Yeah, they start bringing out that oil bankroll and they start giving NBA vets some contracts for just basically games.
Right.
So I did have one question. I saw where you were playing. I think it was was it the Asia Champions Cup or was it the PBA where you and Charles Abueva got into a scuffle? He's a Dennis Rodman type guy over there for people that don't know.
Yeah, that was in the Philippines in the PBA. So he was a guy, mind you, in the Philippines, it's only one import a team.
Mm-hmm.
So basically you play 48 minutes a game over there. Like the Filipino league is pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Like it's good competition. So this particular game, when I got into it with this guy, like my coaches and my teammates had already told me, like, look, man, this guy, he's 30. He plays rough. He try to get under your skin. He's not that good of a player, but he's going to play his role to get under your skin. He's going to defend you the whole game hard, and the refs are going to let him do it. So that whole game, I'm already knowing that. So the whole game, he's throwing cheap shots. He's hitting me all type of ways. Refs not calling it. I'm still scoring my point. You know what I'm saying? I'm still having a good game. He keeps hitting me, cheap shotting me. So the fourth quarter roll around, we are up 20 at this point. So he hit me again with a cheap shot, and I told him, I say, look, man, like this time, since we already we're about to win this game. So if you do it again, I'm gonna do something back to you. And so he did it again, and I just say, you know what? I'm just gonna go across your head and just went across his head and start like grabbing him and stuff like that. And like we went back into the stand, they had to break it up and stuff like that. And they gave me a flagrant foul, and I was only had to sit out for 2 minutes of that game. So like the game had like 4 minutes left in the game. So I had to sit out that 2 minutes, and we was already up 20, and I didn't even come back in. So it was like, yeah, that was crazy, man. But he was already a dirty guy. He's one of them dirty guys over there.
Yeah.
He's known for that.
Yeah, he's like a mini Dennis Rodman in that league. And obviously a lot of people have seen the video where he swung on, I think, Terrence Williams. Yeah.
He's gotten into it with every import almost every year. He gets into it with at least 2 imports.
Really?
Every year.
Hey, I mean, you got to play your role, I guess. And I mean, sounds like they got some home cooking over there where the refs are kind of letting him get away with it because, you know, he's a national product and, you know, it is what it is, I guess. But
he's one of those guys you would love to have him on your team, but love to play against. I mean, hate to play against.
Definitely. Yeah.
He's one of those guys.
Mm-hmm. So what is it looking like now as far as what team you're planning on playing for this next season or teams that you're considering?
Right now, you know, with this COVID stuff going on, you know, nobody knows really what's about to go on. But for me, I'm trying to head back out somewhere in Asia, in the Middle East. You know what I mean? Trying to head back out that way, either Dubai, trying to sign with Dubai, team in Dubai, something like that. So we'll see how it goes, though. I got like another month and a half, 2 months before anything really started to kick off. I think the only people playing right now is like Israel and Germany.
Really? So those leagues are actually still playing?
Yeah, they actually just started back within like the last couple of weeks, matter of fact. Like they just started back playing.
That's good. That's good. And obviously the NBA is just basically yesterday confirmed the layout for the 13 teams from the East, or from the West, and then the 9 teams from the East that are going to be in the playoffs.
Right.
I mean, with everything that's going on in the world these days, I think everyone kind of wants to just watch some basketball. And
man, that's it, man. That's it. That's all I want to do, man. Like I've been watching all these 2009 Eastern Conference Finals. Watching Derrick Rose back in the day. Like I've been watching all type of games, man. Just to watch some basketball right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know I'm ready to see some NBA action, and I really can't wait for that to go down. And I hope everything works out, and I hope COVID, stays at bay and nothing crazy goes on, and it possibly ruins that. But we'll see. Now I got to ask you, do you have any hidden talents that your fans may want to know about? Any businesses maybe you're working on or something like that, or business?
I have, like I mentioned earlier, I have a AAU program. I have a 7th grade and a 10th grade team that we started last summer. I have a bang up nonprofit too. That's basically like that's giving back to the youth, the one I'm from back in Atlanta. And I have a clothing line, Bang Up Clothing, that I do. Basically, that I make and design my own clothes, sportswear, t-shirts, like some of everything, like basically anything you could think of, really. So I have that.
For sure, and I'll definitely be sure to add your at on the video so that all the people who see this can go ahead and show some love and
appreciate that.
Check out your IG. And I really appreciate you coming on today, and wish you the best of luck with your upcoming season. And we'll be in touch. Maybe we'll have to hoop sometime if we're ever in the same city.
All right, man.